It's towards the ending of the month of January, and there's going to be a lot we're going to be talking about today on the show. And on our tips for the day segment, we're going to be telling you how to start off a new month, considering that it's a few days to end this one, and it's just the beginning of a new year. So there are a whole 11 more months for you to achieve a whole lot, and we thought to bring you those tips.
Of course. I mean, this is the best time to talk about, starting right, because when it's the middle of the year, you'd have lost a lot of chances. So you want to stick around for our tips for today's segment. And of course, right after that, we'll be looking at some of the top headlines coming from our national dailies, as we always do for you every morning.
And from that segment, we'll be moving on to bring you variety segment. And remember that we start off just a minute before 8 o'clock. And then after the bright morning news, we go ahead to bring you more of our variety segment.
And of course, Uche Udoma will be right in the building, right here in our studios for the national discussion. Of course, yesterday they were discussing about the whole Obasanjo's letter, which is still trending.
Yes.
The federal government has responded to it, and we continue to see lots of response, continuous analysis,
yes,
whether or not he has the right. I mean, whether or not it was right for him to actually come out with those statements about the president.
There has even been made a handout. A handout has been made out of it, Nigerians, we can be so dramatic.
How much is it sold?
I have no idea, but then there was a picture of someone selling it, and it was even laminated, like just so funny.
Just like the school days.
And that's one thing with Nigeria. I think we just easily get carried away with things. Like if you want to observe how things have unfolded during the week or all through this week, like it's when somebody says this, okay, then that dominates the news for a long while, and then remember there's petrol scarcity, dominates the news again and that's what everybody will be talking about when it talks to elections. That just also has its own share or time on the news. I don't know, is it typical of Nigeria? That's just how it is, the way we easily get distracted with math when there are other issues on ground.
Of course. All right, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll be looking at our tips for today. Stay with us.
This is E-Vibes, all-in-one entertainment, trending news, gossip, movie trailer, comedy, top 5 music videos you should know. E-Vibes, entertainment vibe, showing on this station. Don't miss it.
Welcome to National Discourse. Fuel scarcity has been a problem in Nigeria from time immemorial.
Current affairs.
We have to fix our refineries.
Politics. It's interactive.
You can imagine if states, the federal government and state government say, okay, all the vehicles we're going to use all should come from Innocent or any other local manufacturer of automobiles in Nigeria.
If a woman cannot build the family or her family, how can she build a nation? So it starts with the family.
Well, if you talk of employment, unemployment in Nigeria is one of the indicators of socio-economic problems that we're having in the country. Let me just say it from 1960 to date.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, it's the Bright Morning Show and it just got started. You are very welcome. All right, right now we're on our segment for tips for the day, and this is where we like to bring you 10 tips on a particular item. Today we're going to be looking at how to start off your new month. Okay, I want you to do a just quick assessment of how much you have achieved in this month of January. It's already 26, and by Monday it's going to be 29th. So we have like 2 or 3 days, just a few days left. I want you to just look back and reflect. Have you achieved all those New Year resolutions you wrote down? Mono, how is it coming for you, your New Year resolutions?
Well, I'm still on it actually, but God has been faithful.
Yeah, it's been progress.
Yes.
Progress is important. Progress is actually very important. Well, there are still 11 months for you to go and for you to make up all those lists and check all of them on that list. Okay, our first tip this morning says you should expand your thinking with new experiences. So each month for 30 days in a row, commit to doing something new that you have thought about doing but have not done, and notice how it affects your life. Some possibilities: do aerobic exercise for 30 minutes. So you see, just look at ways that you can expand your horizon. Just think of new things, think of new experiences, areas that you haven't touched, and you know that are important to you, not just doing things for the sake of doing things. Make sure that they're going to be important to you, they're going to improve you as a person, and at the end of the day, you will also use that experience to touch other lives or improve other people's lives. So this is the time for you to think and reflect.
All right, the next tip talks about starting a business plan. You know, something I've discovered about life that is quite intriguing for me is the fact that nothing happens for nothing. You've got a plan for everything. I mean, you see big corporations, you see big people doing big things, getting more money. There was a plan before all those things surfaced. And if you don't have a plan, a business plan, you're not going to make the progress that you want to see. So if you've been sitting on a business idea for a while now and haven't acted on it, time to do it is right now. So write down your ideas and start working on a business plan. If you don't know how, buy a book on starting a business, read it, and check the internet for tips. So at the end of the day, there's no excuse. And it's always good to have a mentor, because I've come to discover that in life, if you want to excel in a particular area, you've got to have somebody that you look up to. So I mean, if you're going to do a business plan, you have to look at personal resources, trend analysis. These terms may sound very big, but you can actually study them. I mean, we get to learn new things every day. So don't just sit down there and be asking yourself, what's trend analysis? Get to know what trend analysis is. We get to know things as the day go by. I didn't know you until I came here before I knew you. So it's very important that you have to be open-minded to these things, and that way you'll be able to ensure that you meet the target for every month.
And moving on from making a business plans, you need to also make a commitment to fitness. It's important that you care for your outlook, your well-being as an individual. I think fitness is one area that we don't pay that much attention to, and it's very, very important. Just the other day, I was passing by in a tricycle, and I noticed an old man. He was being escorted by somebody, might be his son or just, I don't know, a member of his family, and you could just tell that he was trying so hard to keep fit. He was wearing canvas and shorts and walking, you know, and you could just tell that it's not something he has been doing for a while. He was trying to like make up for those times. If you haven't started, you must start now. Try to keep fit physically, doing exercise and consuming what you consume as well. It's part of the whole process of keeping fit. You need to check out the amount of carbohydrates and fatty foods in proportion to the vegetables and fruits you have in your diet. So try to just keep fit in this period, so at the end of the day it pays off.
Of course, I will move to our fourth point, and this one talks about investing into a bright future. Talking about having a savings account. You know, yesterday I was at home just lying down in my bed, a bachelor like my humble self, and you know, just reflecting on my life. I was like, okay, last year I did savings, and it proved to be very fruitful. I'm like, okay, January is almost up now, so it's time to continue with the habit again because I saw the advantages. So you want to invest in a bright future. You understand? A car is worth 3.6 million. You understand? You may not really have that money, or someone can actually gift you the money, because I do believe in having things for free. If I'm thinking about getting something, I don't always think I have to buy it, because I believe that I can be blessed enough to be given. I can be blessed so that it can be given to me. You understand? But at the same time, you have to save. If you want to have some of these things, you want to plan for it. And the time to do that is now. And I'm sure you're glad that it's January. And I'm sure, of course, it's the end of the month and money is coming in wherever you're working. You understand? Well, it may not be the end of the month for some people, but at the same time, this is a perfect time to actually start saving for the year. That thing you want to achieve. Maybe you're planning for your wedding in July or maybe in August. It's time to start saving right now. It's right now. You have to do it.
And just in case your challenge is spending exorbitantly, I think this is the time to also cut down on some spendings. You know, if you used to spend like 1,000 naira every day, you can try to reduce it to 500 naira, 700 naira. You can just try to cut down on your spendings. Okay, our next tip here, and it's our number 5 tip before we go on a short break. It says practice the one day a principle. Of course, you can't just juggle everything at once and just want to go ahead and achieve it. You can't do a calendar. You remember yesterday we were trying to make a calendar for one of our programs. So you must do one day a principle. Today it might be, or you could even say on the 1st to the 5th, I will do this, I'll achieve this. From 5th to the 10th, I should do this. You know, that one says I'll manage my debt. This one says New Year goals. This one more time for family.
Improve yourself.
Yes.
You know, last year I was telling you about a course I was doing, and it's totally free and, you know, relates to what I'm doing. And there's 4 more to go, so definitely it's all about, you know, knowledge. Knowledge is free these days. There's so many things, you know, we're talking about do it yourself.
Yes.
I mean, DIY on the internet. I mean, you see lots of ideas that just blow your mind away, and how to make your house beautiful without even spending up to like 100,000, but just using regular things, you know, to make life so easy and beautiful for yourself. So expose yourself this year, and talking about the month of February that's coming out, look for something new to learn about what you do.
Absolutely, and also make sure that yay, bachelors is the month of February, you know.
Love, love, love.
All right, so go on a timeout, and on our return, we'll bring you 5 more tips on how to kick off a new month. We'll be back.
Welcome back. We're looking at tips to actually help you start your new month, and looking at January being over, we're expecting February in just a few days. So we've done 1 to 5. Just a little recap in case you just tuned in. The first one says expand your thinking with new experiences. The second one says start up a business plan. You've got to do that, very important. And the third one says make a commitment to fitness. You've got to be healthy, you know. And the fourth one talks about investing in a bright financial future. You've got to start saving. So that money that is coming to your account this month, don't eat up everything, okay? Try to save close to like 30% of it. And in 5 months' time, you'll be thanking me. The fifth one says practice the day 1 day principle, and that was the last one Dorcon looked at. The sixth one says schedule family time, and this talks about, you know, devoting time to your family, and maybe it's playing a game or doing something. You know, last year on one of the tips segment on the Bright Morning Show, we were talking about the fact that how important for family to have family rituals, something that you do together as a family that becomes something you look forward to. Then the next 10 years, you know, there's so many memories, all these things. It helps children's brain to function properly, because it helps them know that there's love in the family. And if you can incorporate that too, I think it really make your month memorable. The month will not just go away. Like for the month of January, I have something specific that happened that will always be in my mind, I think, for life. And I'm looking forward to February and see how God, you know, does great things too. So for you too, the same way you can create these memories that last. I mean, look how cheerful that family is on the screen. I mean, I want that. that? Don't you want that? Who doesn't
Who
want
doesn't
this?
want that?
This is a good something.
And they say this love actually starts from the family. So if you have this kind of love and merriment in the family, you would also relate with people in the society, which would just make our country, our society a better place. So it all starts from the family. All right, moving on our next tip, we're going to be talking about something else, and it says reach financial goals. But before I bring you the details of this, we'll go on a short timeout. I'll be back. So I was just about to bring you the details of the sixth tip, which says that, or rather the seventh tip, because Mono talked about scheduling family time. If you're not in the habit of doing that, please do that. Even as you go into the month of February, try to create time for family. This other one says reach your financial goals. And yes, besides saving up, you must have financial goals for the year. Depending on how much you earn, you might say, okay, at the end of the year, I should be able to save up this amount. I should be able to use it to acquire this. I should be able to use it to pay off this. All of that. You must have financial goals. And having financial goals also helps you project a beautiful future for you, yes. Because if you know how you spend, if you know how much you also save, you just have this knowledge at the back of your mind. It helps your general well-being. By the time you want to do something, you want to achieve something, you already have this background knowledge. So you know whether it's something you can go into, if it's something you can venture into or not. So please just ensure that as you step into the month of February, you have financial plans.
All right, we're almost out of time with this segment. The next one says keep friends close. Very important. Work schedules, family obligations, life gets in the way of relationships. And it's the truth. That's the fact. Sometimes you're so busy, you don't even have time for your siblings and your family. So take this year and try to make changes. You can work on taking time off for visits, but meantime, reconnect the old-fashioned way by writing, sending cards throughout the year. The little gifts the family might enjoy too, you might also want to do that, and that's just one of the way of keeping friends close. So it's a new month coming in February, and this is something that you want to try. It's fresh, and you just want to ensure that your friendship with people is rejuvenated, because it just helps that blood system to flow properly when you know that you're with people that you love and care about.
Absolutely. And the next point tells us that you must create an environment fostering your success. I'm sure you have success plans. So it's not just about having these success plans. You must also make sure that you're in the right environment with the right energy in helping you achieve these plans. Surround yourself with the right people. You might not even realize to what extent you're influenced negatively and positively by things and people around you. Start a journal to keep track of these influences so you can eliminate the negative and increase the positive. So yes, it's important that the environment you're in and the people you're always around influence you positively, and if not, you must stay away from such people.
Of course. And lastly, the last tip talks about gratitude. It is very, very important to be grateful for the little things. You might just go into your closet, just open your clothes. There's so many clothes, and you're like, I'm really grateful because I have this number of clothes, because some people don't even have what you have. You might be complaining there's no furniture in my house. Some people don't even have where to stay, and you're sleeping in peace. The little things in life, is worth being grateful for. And, just like you said, I think a few days ago, when you're grateful for something, you're attracting new things to come to you. So grateful people always get new things. So if you want new things to come to you, you always have to practice an attitude of gratitude.
Sure.
Of course. And that's a wrap on our tips for today's segment. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we're going into something more serious, looking at some of the top headlines coming in on our national day list this morning. Stay with us right here on The Bright Morning Show. We'll be right back.
Oh, thank you for staying tuned on to NCTV at this morning at this hour of 7 up to the hour of 9 o'clock. We'll be bringing you the Bright Morning Show. It's been super interesting so far. All right, now we're moving on to our newspaper review segment, and this is where we review national dailies and headlines that have been pouring in from last night on to this morning. Whatever headline interests you most, remember that you can always grab a hard copy from your newspaper vendor, or you can as well just check it up online, which is one of the easiest things to do right now. And your comments are very important. Mona will be sharing with you our handles that you can drop them.
Of course, we're on Facebook. It's at The Bright Morning Show. Also on Twitter is at BMS_NCTV. Also on Instagram, and of course the WhatsApp number is displayed right there on your screen.
Okay, I'll be starting off with the Punch newspaper, and this headline says, "No fraud in varsity power projects and Fashola tells reps."
And I'll be starting with the Premium Times. But before I say the first headline here, I must say we're going to be seeing lots of political stories this morning.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, the first one here is coming in from PDP on the Premium Times. It says Obasanjo's letter, APC response cooked up.
And this one says, Ambode Special Advisor Deji Tinubu slumps dies.
Ex-Governor Ojikalu blasts Obasanjo for criticizing Buhari. I told you, we're going to see more political headlines this morning.
Even from the international scenes as well. And this one says, EFCC freezes Lawal's accounts to invite ex-SGF's associates.
Nigerian traders endorse Buhari for 2019 election.
And miners' reinstatement won't dent Buhari's image, AGF.
And this says Nigerian army arrests 11 over missing soldier.
Okay, and group berates federal government's over response to Obasanjo's statements.
And still in politics, this says restructuring APC committee recommends state police resource control fiscal federalism.
And plane loses landing gear, tires at Abuja airport.
And the last headline I'll be doing from the Premium Times. Be sure to pick up a copy if any headline is interesting or intriguing. This says 7 police officers, 2 soldiers die in Numan Adamawa crisis, and that's a sad one there.
That is, and there's also another story of Plateau State still on headsman issue, but we'll bring you the details later. Defense Minister blames headsman killings on anti-grazing law route blockage.
And now on to the Nigerian pilots. The first headline says Sokoto's finance, Sokoto's finance debt profile healthy, and this is coming from Tambuwal.
And still on the Punch newspaper, this headline actually made it to our variety segment, and we'll be bringing you details. It says, Evans sues police overseas 25 trucks. It's been a while. Evans has actually been with the police, and they've been on his issue, and now he's suing the police. Well, we'll find out details.
Well, of course, if you've been following the economy in Africa and Nigeria, we've been seeing reports and stories that things are getting better. And the Nigerian pilot puts this one as AFDB applauds growth recovery in Africa.
And talking about elections or political stories in international scenes, Oprah Winfrey rejects 2020 presidential run. You know, there was rumor after her speech at the Global Awards, recently that she might just run for the 2020 presidential elections. And now she says that she won't. So we'll be bringing you details of that on our variety segments as well.
Ingigates workers lock out of duly appointed officers picketing. It's unconstitutional, and that's his opinions on the Nigerian pilot.
Okay, on cattle colonies, another state has actually approved of this, and this says Katsina State allocates 5,300 hectares of land for cattle colony.
And still on Lassa fever, this says Anambra government warns residents of Gari consumption.
Yes, and this one says, why it took me 5 years to bounce back, and it's coming in from Ras Kimono.
And let's look at some political headlines on the Nigerian pilot. This says, Osun Council poll, APC aspirant promises proper representation. And Edo Civil Society to PDP disrupt council polls, face the people's wrath.
Okay, I'll be moving on to the Sun newspaper, and this one says Gombe, Dankwambo and Senator Kumo's exit from PDP. There has still been the defection game playing between these two parties, PDP and APC. Yes.
And still on a fraud case, this says 1.64 billion naira fraud court adjourns Iyama's case to the 28th of February.
And reconciliation. Stay to rebuild PDP. Dixon tells aggrieved aspirants. Mons ex-CJN.
And the Metu saga continues. 400 million naira fraud. EFCC asks court to revoke Metu's bail. More details on the Nigerian pilot.
Okay, and voters registration ends 60 days to polls, INEC.
And moving to the Blueprint newspaper, the first one here, still looking at Osun State, it says we are ready to continue paying full salary. And if you've noticed, the same for, I think, all your states, they've been vocal about how they want to sustain, full salaries this few months. And I think that is something the northern governors want to take a cue from.
I think it's achievable, but I just hope that they do and they are able to meet up to their promises. Okay, this one says, I remain focused in spite of 2019, and it's coming in from Mambodi.
Osun local government allocations poll, court fixes January 24th for ruling, because I guess that's already out. So I guess I'm reading something wrong here, so I beg your pardon for that.
Okay, and this one says, Benue killings, only justice can make me keep quiet. And that is a pressing governor who won't back down from making up his mind. And this is coming in from Benue State Governor Otom.
All right, I've got fresh headlines coming in from the People's Daily News. The first one here says, Nest oil plane skid off forced brief closure of Abuja runway.
And I'll just take us this headlines since they're on sports. Chan Eagles can rule Africa. This is coming in from Ambrose. And NFF sets new targets for Falcons.
And this says how NSCDC nabs trucks with 469,000 liters of petrol.
Okay, moving on to this day newspaper. APC committee backs devolution of power, revives onshore-offshore debate.
And still on the People's Daily, this says federal government to collaborate with stakeholders, development agencies to boost mining.
And amendment to Electoral Act causes discomfort in presidency. And it's coming in from INEC.
And now talking about the particular coalition who is making an allegation. I love the way they put this. They say Obasanjo's letter, desperation to revive lost political relevance. This is really, really funny. Okay, and that's coming from the People's Daily if you want to check out details of that story.
Okay, moving on. This one says 7 policemen, 2 soldiers die in Adamawa crisis.
And this says group storms Abuja streets against mass killings.
And Defense Minister blames anti-grazing law, not herdsmen, for killings.
And still on the ever-trending Obasanjo's letter to Buhari, this says patently illegal, morally unconscionable. And this is coming in from General J.O.J. Opolaogu, retired.
Okay, and still on Obasanjo's case, like Obasanjo has really been trending, really. Well, Obasanjo is still in spirit with PDP, and this was said by Lamido.
And this one coming in from Governor Bello, his own reaction to the whole letter thing. It's put this way by the People's Daily. It says, only God can stop Buhari in 2019.
How?
Okay.
Okay, and federal government ought to channel borrowed funds only to infrastructure financing.
Still on Obasanjo's letter, I'm sorry we're boring you with that, but that's what we have on our
That
papers.
is exactly what we have.
We don't have a choice. We're just going to do this anyway. This coming in from Chief Whip says Obasanjo lacks credibility to blame Buhari. More thoughts still pouring in.
Which takes me to what I said earlier, right back. Like, Nigerians, we just have this way of diverting from something entirely. Like,
there are more
and
things
it's
to
so
focus on in the
easy.
country.
It's so easy. Like, as soon as we're talking about this and something else comes up, everybody abandons that matter and goes. And it's not as if we come back to it.
Of course.
We just abandon that one and leave it there. Okay, this headline reads, IAME, private sector must be encouraged to invest in infrastructure.
And still looking at other headlines, this says Niger APC applauds local government chairman's court victory on tenure reduction.
We actually had the details of this story on our newspaper, on our news last night, and it happens to still be on this day newspaper, and it reads NFF signs top Swedish coach Derby for Super Falcons.
Well, we've been bringing you headlines. We'll still have more to do for you this morning, but first we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll be looking into more headlines right here on the BMS.
And now I'll be moving on to the Nation newspaper. It is still the newspaper review segment of the BMS show. Okay, Obasanjo's Buhari verdict generates more storm.
And I'll be moving to the New Telegraph. The first one here says Ogbe Tax Research Institutes on GMOs.
And this one says police kick as Evans files 200 million naira suits over seized trucks.
Ex-Speaker Bankole, 31 others in ADP's committee.
And NNPC fails to join a venture cash call for 5 years. And this is coming in from Yari.
Okay, this one almost left me in shock, but we'll get more details on this. Coming in from Saraki says the National Assembly is broke.
Okay, and this one says medical lab sciences blame government for high rates of misdiagnosis.
And there's a study or feature on unemployment, and it says labor tax government on industrialization.
And this is coming in from Osim Banjo, and he says it's important for us as government to ensure that people can walk around free, do their business.
And still looking at oil price, we've been giving you details since I think at the beginning of this week. And this one still on the New Telegraph says oil hits $71. First time since 2014.
And this one says, I go die. I think everybody actually has something to tell President Buhari all of a sudden. Like even the comedians now write letters. Okay, I go die writes Buhari, leave now when the ovation is loud. Okay, this is quite serious. Maybe we should also write Buhari a letter. What do you think?
No, I don't think I want to do that. But you can actually. All right, moving on. This says, Jega corrupt politicians after core members academia.
Okay, I'll move on to Vanguard now. And this one says, reasons for New Year Day Benue massacre. The defense minister has that to say.
And now moving to the Herald News. The first headline here says, I beg your pardon, I'll have to skip that and move over to the Tribune newspaper. And the first headline here says, former Nimasa DG opens defense in 2.6 billion naira fraud case. That's a lot of money.
A whole lot. Okay, something on sports and looking out for mentors. Iheanacho, I want to be like Kanu Okorocha.
Okay. And coming in from Ambode, Governor of Lagos State, says election year will not slow down governance in Lagos.
And it's quite sad that we still have issues like this that has been trending for a while now. We're told by now the fuel scarcity and the hike in price would be resolved. Unfortunately, it hasn't. In Imo State, a litre of petrol still goes at 220 naira.
All right, moving on. This says crisis rocking Lagos PDP puts off scheduled inauguration of committees.
Headsmen, normalcy returns to Anambra communities.
And Fashola has got some words for critics. It says there was no 42 billion naira contract scam in power. Okay.
Okay, and this one says over 50 million naira goods, 6 cars raised as fire guts Unsuka industrial market. Oh, not again.
And moving on, this says restructuring. El Rufai committee recommends merger of states and scrapping of local governments.
Okay, I'll be wrapping up with this newspaper. It is still the Vanguard, though. And I'm bringing us headlines. This one says, achieving effective management of time and task is important.
All right, I will wrap up with the leadership newspaper. The first one here says, Fayose praise for speedy recovery of Buhari's son. And Aregbesola presents a 173.9 billion naira budget for his 2018 fiscal year. And this one says, devolution of powers, not restructuring, will solve our problems. And this is coming in from Senator Boroface. And this one says, DPR dispenses 57,000 liters free to motorists, and I guess some defaulting fuel stations have got themselves to blame with this one. All right, 4 killed, 13 wounded in Borno suicide bomb attack. You can get more details on the leadership. And just 2 more. The Nigerian stock market among world's top 5 performers in 2017, and that's coming in from a report from CNN. The last one here talks about album jailbreak, 14 inmates rearrested. And of course, we brought you that story about some inmates who broke out of prison. And well, they have arrested 14 of them.
Okay, so bringing you and concluding this segment. This one says Chelsea unhappy with Conte, and also this one says Real Madrid offer Ronaldo plus cash to land Neymar. Just to wrap up this segment with sports headlines, Spain to face Argentina in March. Friendly, Arsenal strong without Ayu Bameyang, Wenger, and the NFF signs Swedish coach for Super Falcons. And lastly, Russia 2018, Eagles will quake when they face Messi. Rick Wilmer has that to say. All right, so that has been the headlines from our national dailies. Whichever story interests you most, you can always check it up online or grab a hard copy. We'll go on a short.
Glad to know you're still watching the Bright Morning Show on Nigerian Central Television. If you just tuned in, you're welcome on board. This is where it's all happening, with news and information, entertainment in combination to give you, a great start for your day. My name is Morno Balagbogo. Thanks for joining us.
And I am co-presenting Dorcon Remdan.
All right, we'll look at some of the big stories we have been tracing, or we've brought to you on the morning. And like we reviewed from the newspapers, lots of talk with, the situation of Obasanjo's open letter to Buhari. And we're going to be talking about the president's response to Buhari, to Obasanjo, saying that you are wrong on my scorecard. So when you read the letter, on a scale of 1% to 100%, what do you think Obasanjo's score was?
Honestly,
based on what he said.
Honestly, I don't want to give any scores because right now, considering...
No, you're not the one giving the score. Obasanjo scored Buhari. So from what you read on the letter,
okay, now I get that clear.
What score?
What he scored.
Yes, I'm not asking you to score Buhari.
Okay. I would say that maybe he gave him... It was like a 50-50 because he first of all had to mention that he did...
Are you sure?
To an extent, he did well. I just want to put it that way because most people are saying it was quite disrespectful. But at the same time, he also said, okay, Oga, you have tried to an extent. But at the same time, there are so many things you haven't done right. So because he first of all acknowledged that part and he pointed out parts that he thought he didn't do very well, I decided to stick to that.
Honestly, for me, I think it's more of like a 65-45, something like that, or 70-30. But President Muhammadu Buhari's administration defended yesterday its integrity and achievements. It scored itself better than its predecessors. Well, that will be for Nigerians to decide. And that's actually the handout that you said they made of Obasanjo's open letter. But, well, it's an open letter, so definitely there's no copyright infringement here.
That's all.
They can make all the money they want to make. And trust me, people are going to buy it. If I see it, I'm going to buy it. It's going to be my library for sure.
I just imagined my dad actually grabbing a copy and he'll fill it up with red biro. I'm sorry, Daddy.
What about your mom?
My mom, she'd definitely go through it, but she wouldn't hold a red pen to underline words.
And start correcting grammatical
I'm talking
errors.
about them.
Okay, let's bring more details. It was all in reaction to Tuesday's public statement by the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, which criticized the administration for not doing well and advised President Buhari to exit in a dignified manner and not seek re-election. The government said Obasanjo might have been too busy to appreciate how well the administration had performed. Now, the Minister of Information and Culture and National Orientation, Lai Mohammed, told the House reporters after the fake meeting that Obasanjo is a patriot with a right to his opinion, and he described the ex-president's comment on the 2000 election as a distraction. The minister also acknowledged that the administration was not unawares of the enormity of the challenges facing the nation, but said, we have taken the bull by the horns and long-suffering Nigerians will beginning to experience a new lease of life as our efforts yield fruits. And on the herdsmen-farmers clashes, he said the administration was determined to end the crisis once and for all, not minding the fact that the clashes predate us. He also urged Nigerians to have faith in the administration's ability to resolve the crisis and to watch out for concrete measures. The government said it had not cause to believe that Obasanjo had any motive beyond the well-being of the nation. And if you remember yesterday, I talked about the fact where some people were saying insultive. There's no way, I don't see anything insultive about that. But it says we have also taken his admonition in good faith and we thank him most sincerely for taking time off his busy schedule to pen such a long statement.
Actually,
this is a good response.
Actually, coming from the presidency. But I'll just want to bring us some of the achievements that were highlighted by the presidency, talking about Buhari's achievements here. Okay, and it says, 1, foreign reserves, $40 billion up from $24 billion, the highest in 4 years. And this one says inflation down for 11 months. And this other one says stock markets, one of the the best performing in the world with 40% return. And this other one says rice import drops from 644,000 MT to 22,000 MT in 2 years. Actually, it's for you to check and see if these are actually true and you agree with them. And then this other one says 5.2 million primary school pupils fed free in 28,249 schools in 19 states. And I'll just take one more. It says Lagos Kano standard gauge ready 2019. Okay, I'd want to take this one as well. 25 major highways funded with the 100 billion naira Sukuk bond.
Wow, that's really some good stuff right there.
Yeah, and I think it was quite, the response, as you said, pointed out, was quite a mature one. Okay. We'll just go on a very short break here and then we'll return and give you another story. Please stay with us.
Some of the big stories that we have been looking at on the national newspapers, and of course some stories from yesterday, day before yesterday, on the foreign scene, weird stories. All of it combined together makes up our variety segment, and that is a segment you're onto right now. So we move on to our next story.
We've actually touched a bit of this. It's just more of a picture, and you've even seen it. And there's a photo of Obasanjo's letter to President Buhari now selling in traffic. I would love to find out how much it goes for. And Obasanjo's letter to President Buhari is now available
How
in
many
hard
pages did
copy.
you say it was?
13 pages,
Okay,
actually.
so it's 100 naira to do the binding, as I can remember back in school. Then 13 pages, front and back.
It's a
right?
100 naira per page to
So
print.
in total, we're looking about 250.
Or let's say
naira.
let's say 200, because the person has to edit it and make it look really catchy. So 200 naira per page. I don't know. And just in case you missed the copy, the soft copy online, there's the hard copy for you. Now just go into some traffic anywhere, and grab a copy of it. Nigerians, we know they carry last.
At all. Okay, we'll just mention some of the headlines we'll be looking at when we come back from our bright morning news. We've got the story here that says Ben Bruce raises alarm after receiving threat message alleging herdsmen are planning to attack him. Well, he's been saying a lot lately, so I'm sure he's received more threats than that, and I guess he has the money to be able to secure himself. Another one says kidnapped suspect sues police for seizing 25 trucks. We've got the story that says 90-year-old grandma begins primary school.
And it's so, the pictures are just priceless.
Okay, then the opera story you talked to us about. Then we've got Kaduna State Government allocates 5,300 hectares for land for the cattle colony. Okay, and this one says private jet skids of Abuja runway. And that's a wrap of some of the stories. They are interesting, of course, so you know you have to stay with us.
We'll be back after the bright morning news. See you on the other side.
Ивоби великолепно. Удар поворотом и...
knowledge is power, and so on the rich, meet inspiring, reputable individuals who've climbed up the ladder of success, but not without trials and tribulations and battles along the way. Listen to their stories, find out the role they play in our society. Be inspired as we get out of them what our viewers truly need to know to reach those heights.
For Lakade Suba, getting the answers that help you make sense of the journey.
Fascination made me want to study.
Who's next on the seat? Find out on The Reach, weeknights on NCTV.
It's business. It's about profit, challenges, demand and supply, risk involved in different business lines. All about profiling of entrepreneurs in the Nigerian business community and how they contribute to the development of the economy. Eco Profiles, showcasing the Nigerian business community.
This is E-Vibes, all-in-one entertainment, trending news, gossip, movie trailer, comedy, top 5 music videos you should know. E-Vibes, entertainment vibe, showing on this station. Don't miss it.
Who is the common man? He is the ordinary man, your average citizen.
Until the common man on the street can feel the impact of the exit, we shouldn't be celebrating.
5% Things are getting more difficult for the masses on a daily basis. People are finding difficult to even eat 1 square meal in a day.
My name is Mono Balagbobo. Join me every Mondays as I walk across the streets of the Federal Capital Territory, taking and asking opinions and views on national issues, only on Nigeria Central Television.
I want you all to know that we are fighting the fake news.
From the White House to weather disasters.
On the ground, we worked away. Here in Los Angeles.
Even on the battlefields.
Foreign news covered weekdays at noon, only on NCTV.
This is E-Vibes, all-in-one entertainment, trending news, gossip, movie trailer, comedy, top 5 music videos you should know. E-Vibes, entertainment vibe, showing on this station. Don't miss it.
Welcome to National Discourse. Fuel scarcity has been a problem in Nigeria from time immemorial.
Current affairs.
We have to fix our refineries.
Politics. It's interactive.
You can imagine if states, the federal government and state government say, okay, all the vehicles we're going to use all should come from Innocent or any other local manufacturer of automobiles in Nigeria.
If a woman cannot build the family or her family, how can she build a nation? So it starts with the family.
Well, if you talk of employment, unemployment in Nigeria is one of the indicators of socio-economic problems that we're having in the country. Let me just say it from 1960 to date.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Knowledge is power, and so on the rich, meet inspiring, reputable individuals who've climbed up the ladder of success, but not without trials, tribulations, and battles along the way. Listen to their stories, find out the role they play in our society, be inspired as we get out of them what our viewers truly need to know to reach those heights.
For Lakade Sura, getting the answers that help you make sense of the journey.
Fascination made me want to study.
Who's next on the seat? Find out on The Reach, weeknights on NCTV.
It's business. It's about profit, challenges, demand and supply, risk involved in different business lines. All about profiling of entrepreneurs in the Nigerian business community and how they contribute to the development of the economy. Eco Profiles, showcasing the Nigerian business community.
This is E-Vibes, all-in-one entertainment, trending news, gossip, movie trailer, comedy, top 5 music videos you should know. E-Vibes, entertainment vibes, showing on this station. Don't miss it.
Who is the common man? He is the ordinary man, your average citizen.
Until the common man on the street can feel the impact of the exit, we shouldn't be celebrating.
Things are getting more difficult for the masses on a daily basis. People are finding difficult to even eat 1 square meal in a day.
My name is Mono Balagbobo. Join me every Mondays as I walk across the streets of the Federal Capital Territory, taking and asking opinions and views on national issues, only on Nigeria Central Television.
I want you all.
Good morning and thank you for joining us once again on the Bright Morning News. Now the headlines. Buhari departs for AU Summit today. INEC warns against campaign under guise of voter education. In business news, Abuja-Kaduna Rail starts daily express service. In sports news, adult fans to pay £18, juniors £10 to watch Super Eagles vs Serbia in London. And in entertainment news, Seun Kuti says Obasanjo not qualified to speak for Nigerians. On the foreign scene, Oprah not interested in presidential bid. Thank you for joining us. I am Dorcon Rimdan. Now the details. President Muhammadu Buhari met behind closed doors with some state governors at the presidential villa, Abuja. The meeting, which started at about 2 p.m., had 6 governors in attendance. Those at the meeting were Governors Udom Emmanuel of Akwa Ibom, Dave Umahi of Ebonyi, and Aminu Masari of Katsina. Others were Simon Lalong of Plateau, Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi, and Abdulaziz Yari of Zamfara. Buhari's personal assistant on new media, Bashir Ahmed, confirmed the meeting on his Twitter handle. He wrote, after presiding over a security meeting earlier, President M. Buhari is now holding a meeting with some members of the Nigerian Governors Forum led by its chairman, Governor Abdulaziz Yari of Zamfara State. Recall that some northern governors had recently endorsed Buhari for his second term after meeting at the presidential villa, Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari will today depart for Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to participate in the 30th ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union. According to Femi Adesina, media advisor, the highlight of the president's engagement during the visit will be his speech under the theme "Winning the Fight Against Corruption, a Sustainable Path to Africa's Transformation." This is the first time in 54-year history of the AU that anti-corruption will be made a theme for the gathering of the regional leaders. On July 4, 2017, during the 29th session of the AU, African leaders unanimously endorsed President Buhari to champion the fight against corruption on the continent. The endorsement was in recognition of his personal commitment and widely acclaimed anti-graft drive at the domestic level. On July 25, 2017, the president, in a letter to President Alpha Condé of Guinea, who is also the outgoing AU chairperson, formally accepted his nomination to lead members of the AU on this crucial crusade against a veritable socio-economic vice that is anti-development. President Buhari will also hold bilateral meetings with some of his colleagues on issues of common interests. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, the Minister of Interior, Abdul Rahman Dambazo, the Minister of State Aviation, Hadi Sirika, the National Security Advisor, Babagana Monguno, and the Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, are in the President's delegation to the summit. Nigeria's Attorney General Abubakar Malami has asked the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to review the charges of fraud against those accused in the infamous Malabu scandal. They include a former Petroleum Minister, Dan Etete, former Attorney General Mohammed Adoke, and other defendants who are facing charges of fraud in the $1.1 billion Malibu oil block case. They are accused by the EFCC of diverting the huge amounts in a series of fraudulent transactions, resulting in the transfer of the rich oil well OPL 245. Malami's view of the charges was contained in a memo read in court by counsel to Adoke. According to the memo, Malami said the current proof of evidence does not show clear links of fraud as allegedly committed by the defendants. The counsel, Kanu Agabi, asked the Abuja division of the Federal High Court to issue an order affirming that the charges against Adoke were illegal on the grounds that Adoke was acting on the directives of former President Goodluck Jonathan. Agabi said in a presidential system of government, the head of government takes credit or blame for anything good. Therefore, his clients should not be blamed for the decisions that resulted in the transfer of the OPL 245. Speaking further, Agabi said a document present in court was proof of his client's innocence. He cited a letter written by Malami in which the AGF warned the EFCC that the current charges were against the defendants could not be sustained. Senate President Bukola Saraki announced a 6-man committee to reconcile the Senate's version of the amended Electoral Act with the version passed by the House of Representatives. The Senate's Conference Committee has the chairman of the Senate Committee on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Senator Suleiman Nazif, as chairman. Other members of the committee are Senators Shehu Sani, Biodun Olujimi, Hope Uzodimma, Dino Melayi, and Peter Nwabushi. The committee is expected to meet with the House of Representatives to harmonize the version of the amended electoral bill before being sent to President Muhammadu Buhari for his assent. The Senate had in 2017 passed an amendment version of the 2010 Electoral Act, while the House of Representatives had on Tuesday amended the Electoral Act to change the 2019 general elections timetable. This came barely a month after the INEC released a timetable for the general elections. With the amendments, the National Assembly election will take place first, followed by gubernatorial and state assembly polls. The presidential election will be conducted last, and the amendment was made at the Committee on the Whole House, presided over by the Deputy Speaker, Yusuf Lasson. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has urged politicians in the country not to take advantage of the ongoing continuous voter registration, CVR, to campaign. The resident electoral commissioner, REC, in the state, Emeka Onomamadu, gave a caution in Enugu. The REC said that the government also had a role to play in order to guarantee credible polls, adding that they needed to play by the rules when mobilizing the electorate for the CVR. Onomamadu stressed the need for the electorate in the state to take the exercise more seriously. He said that the exercise had provided an ample opportunity for residents of the state to take their destinies into their hands. The REC said that the commission had been sensitizing the electorate on the need to register in order to perform their civic responsibilities. According to him, we used the Yuletide to reach out to people in rural areas as well as in churches. Onomamadu noted that people were beginning to have a renewed confidence in the electoral umpire due to its excellent conduct in recent outings. He said that the exercise had been violence-free in the state, adding that it was continuous and will stop 60 days before any general election, according to the law. Still on politics, the senator presenting Kaduna Central, Shehu Sani, has said President Muhammadu Buhari should heed the admonition of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, drop his re-election bid, and allow a new leader with fresh and progressive ideas to take charge. Sani, a member of the All Progressives Congress, said the president should emulate Nelson Mandela of South Africa and bow out while the ovation is loudest. The senator was reacting to a letter by the former head of state critiquing the present administration of Buhari. Obasanjo, in a special press statement entitled "The Way Out, a Clarion Call for Coalition for Nigerian Movement," said Buhari has performed far below expectation and should honorably dismount from the horse to join the league of the country's former leaders whose experience, influence, wisdom and outreach can be deployed on the sideline for the good of the country. He added that the president should rather work towards identifying a fitting replacement than seek re-election. He advised Nigerians not to discard the contents of the letter while advising President Buhari to heed the advice. Onto the judiciary. Olisa Metu, former PDP spokesman, has been ordered to appear at the Federal High Court, Abuja, for his trial on February 5 or risk arrest. Justice Okon Abang gave the order on Thursday when he delivered ruling in an application filed by Metu seeking an adjournment to his trial on health grounds. The judge said that the letter which Metu wanted the court to rely on to grant the adjournment was not a proper document before the court. The judge said that there was a laid-down procedure for filing a medical report in court. He said it was not the place of a medical practitioner to write a lengthy letter with several medical terms that were meaningless to the court. The judge further said that although the application by the prosecution to revoke Metu's bail and commit to him prison deserved to succeed, he would not grant it based on compassionate grounds. The judge, however, said that if Metu failed to appear in court on the next adjourned date, he would revoke the bail. Governor Samuel Othom made his first stops at Logo and Guma local government areas more than 3 weeks after communities in the two areas were besieged by herdsmen. Over 100 villagers were killed in successful attacks on communities across the two councils, according to witness accounts. The state government buried 72 of the victims at a newly built gravesite near Makurdi on January 12. Autumn made the first stop at the only camp in the Setginze Guma local government area, promising displaced persons better security and a lasting solution to the invasion by herdsmen. Residents complained of shortage of food, water, and basic amenities. You are watching the Bright Morning News. Still to come, Abuja Kaduna Rail starts daily express service. Adult fans to pay £18, juniors £10 to watch Super Eagles versus Serbia in London. Sheon Kuti says Obasanjo not qualified to speak for Nigerians. Oprah not interested in presidential bid. Details after the break. Please stay with us. And now business news. The Abuja Standard Gauge Railway has commenced daily express service. The Nigerian Railway Corporation (NRC) unveiled the service in Abuja. The principal public relations officer, Nafisa Bello, in Abuja said that the express train are the first and last trip from Monday to Saturday at about 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. from Idu and 6:40 a.m. and 6 p.m. from Rigasa without stopping at other stations. She said that based on the new additional coaches, the timing and performance has improved to safety passengers' demand. According to her, they run 4 round trips from Monday to Saturday from Idu Station to Rigasa with 2 round trips on Sundays. She said that the corporation was addressing problem of selling tickets without seats in Kubwa Station. Magdalene Michael has other stories on the Nigerian economy.
The Bank of Industry has signed an agreement with the Ministry of Finance to recover the 17.5 billion naira outstanding loan being owed by customers of the Nigerian Economic Reconstruction Fund. The Memorandum of Understanding was signed in Abuja between the Ministry of Finance, led by its Permanent Secretary, Mahmoud Duse, and the Bank of Industry, led by the Managing Director, Olukayode Pitan. Speaking during an interview shortly after the event, Pitan said the bank would adopt all legal means available to recover the bad loans for the government. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) said it posted a total crude oil and gas export sale of $239.10 million in the month of November 2017. Details of the transaction contained in the recently released November 2017 edition of the monthly NNPC operation and financial reports also indicated that the figure is 25.68%, lower than the previous month's performance. The breakdown showed that crude oil export sales contributed $113.97 million, or 47.7% of the dollar's transaction, compared with $227.83 million contribution in previous months. The Nigerian National Corporation (NNPC) Total Upstream Nigeria Limited and her partners announced the arrival of Egnon Floating Production Storage Offloading Unit to the shore of Nigeria from South Korea. The journey to Nigeria started on October 31st, 2017. Egnon is the largest investment project currently ongoing in the oil and gas sector in Nigeria. The project is expected to be completed in fourth quarter of the year within the initial budget of $16 billion. On the foreign exchange rate for today, the Naira traded 305 Naira 6 kobo to the US dollar, 377 Naira 7 kobo to the euro, and 431 Naira 96 kobo to the British pound. That's our package on Business News today. I am Magdalene Michael.
Moving on to sports news. Football fans will pay between £10, about 5,120 Naira, to £18, about 9,200 Naira, to watch the Super Eagles of Nigeria take on Serbia in a pre-2018 FIFA World Cup friendly match on 27 March in London. The exact venue of the match between the two 2018 World Cup bound teams yet to be named. The Nigeria Football Federation has revealed the tickets on sale will see juniors pay the sum of £10, about 5,120 Naira, to watch the game in the stadium, while adults will pay £18, about 9,200 Naira. According to a tweet on the official handle of the NFF, the tweet reads, "The road to the 2018 FIFA World Cup continues. Join the @NG Super Eagles in London on March 27th for the game against the Serbian national team. Tickets start from £18 for adults and £10 for juniors. Hashtag Soar Super Eagles, hashtag NGASRB. The three-time African champions will be making their sixth appearance at the World Cup in Russia and have been drawn in Group D along with Croatia, Iceland and Argentina. Other friendlies lined up for the Super Eagles ahead of the 2018 World Cup are against England, Poland, DR Congo and the Czech Republic. Over now to Dare Kuti for more details.
United recorded their first away victory in the fourth-week-old MPFL season, beating Niger Tornadoes 2-1 at the Conference Stadium in Lokoja. The victory saw the Promise Keepers climb to second position on the league log. Defending champions Plateau United, courtesy of their 3-0 bashing of El Kanami at home, moved to the top of the table. Atland was the only other team that secured an away point yesterday. The Nazi Millionaire held go-round FC to a 1-1 draw at the stadium, Moko, in a game which the host finished with 10 men, no thanks to the red card shown to Azul, Chile during additional time. In Akure, Sunshine Stars defeated Rivers United 2-0 with the visitors conceding defeat. Rivers United had, after the game, tweeted with the Owena side deserved their victory. Rangers made their fans happy at the Cathedral with a 1-0 victory over Katsina United. The Flying Antelope, it recalled, started the season on a bad note, losing their first two games against Akwa United and Lobby Stars. Super Eagles coach Salisu Yusuf said the team passed the big test of character by coming from behind to beat Equatorial Guinea in their last Group C game of the CAF African Nations Championship in Morocco. The Eagles booked their place in the quarter-final and must beat Angola to advance. "We have passed a great test of character and the team should be commended," said Coach Yusuf. "The goal by Equatorial Guinea stunned us because we did not expect it, but good enough, we fought back in the second half to win." Yusuf said that they have to win their next match to reach the semi-finals. "We have to play to win and we hope to take our chances," he said. Skipper and goalkeeper Ikechukwu Ezenwa said the focus have now shifted to Sunday's knockout game. We are looking forward to our next game, most likely against Angola. We hope to be in the semi-finals, he said. Nigeria is Africa's strongest export to the upcoming World Cup in Russia, according to CAF President Ahmed. Ahmed stated this during a meeting with Nigerian Sport Minister Solomon Dalong in Morocco. Ahmed also praised Nigeria for qualifying for the quarter-finals of the Championship of African Nations ongoing in Morocco, adding that Nigeria have always been the eye of Africa at the World Cup. Dalong has used the occasion to thank Ahmed for his support to the 5 African countries that will be representing the continent at the World Cup in Russia, with particular reference to the Nigerian football team. The CAF president granted a financial subsidy of $500,000 to Africa's 5 qualifiers for the 2018 World Cup to strengthen the technical supervision of the teams, as well as equipment for technological devices used for measuring the physical performance for outdoor team. The countries are Nigeria, Tunisia, Egypt, Morocco, and Senegal. Barrister Dalong commended the CAF president for the vision in changing the face of CAF and African football. Also at the meeting were President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, the Nigerian ambassador to Morocco, Edwin Pakwo, and Mrs. Alabi Fumilayo. With sports updates, I am Kutidari.
And now, entertainment news. Seun Kuti, son of late Afrobeat legend Fela Anikulapo Kuti, has condemned a statement credited to former President Olusegun Obasanjo over poor governance in Nigeria. The former president had on Tuesday given several reasons Buhari should not seek re-election in 2019. Reacting, Seun on his Instagram page said Obasanjo has no right to speak for Nigerians. He lamented the level of corruption and injustice perpetrated by military leaders without persecution. Aliu Ahmed Adoke has more on entertainment news.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment News on NCTV. Nollywood actress Chika Ike arrived the US a few days ago to continue her program for leadership development (PLD) at Harvard Business School. Chika Ike was overjoyed after she got accepted into Harvard Business School after being rejected for 5 years. Chika Ike even pledged to pick and help a random follower who needs educational support as part of celebration of her admission. The role interpreter who recently announced the good news on Instagram shared a photo of her at Harvard Business School Cafe. Congratulations, Chika Ike.
My name is Wanne. I'm a teacher at the community school. I make sure that all the scholarships go to my students.
Who asked you to touch my pot? This boy has been a curse to me.
He has been a blessing that you have refused to see.
It's Coded Records, baby.
Zlatan.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord.
Oh
my lord. I suppose get that word. The way I move my body. The way they do my body. Yo.
Nigerian indigenous rapper Olamide aka Bado took to social media to appreciate Davido for signing upcoming rapper Zlatan Ibile to DMW. The Science Student Corner took to his Twitter page to appreciate Davido as he wrote, "When Big Fish supports the little ones, gives me joy." At I am Davido and at Zlatan_Ibile. Shine, my brother. Zlatan Ibile is the brain behind the hit song My Body, which has gone viral with the Shaku Shaku dance steps.
Oh my lord, your body, oh my lord, my body, my body, oh my lord, your body, oh my lord, my body.
After celebrating her union with her boo traditionally, soulful music queen and powerhouse Omaomi assembles a superstar-studded cast of heavyweights in the Nigerian entertainment industry for stunning music video of her on-demand single, Something, off her timeless album.
Baby man, not be perfect. Live on for me. Two shirt, one shoe, one trouser. Live on for me. And if you like it, drive Okada. Live on for me. Live on like that.
Nollywood actress Mercy Aigbe might have marital issues with her estranged husband, Lanre Gentry. But that does not stop her from wishing for another baby girl. The mother of two, who recently turned 40, took to her Instagram page to share a photo of a cute little girl. She wrote in the caption, and I quote, "Oh my ovaries, I might just try for another baby girl," unquote. Recall that Mercy's marriage hit the rocks early last year when she revealed that she was in an abusive relationship with Lanre Gentry. This was followed by a series of photos that served as evidence to her claims as she arrested her estranged husband. Earlier this year, the actress and Lanre Gentry appeared to have made up after Mercy re-unfollowed him on Instagram.
Are you not gonna get the door? Ouch!
I promise that this will never come to an end.
I was frustrated, I was dejected, I was depressed, I just wanted to run away. I imagined my marriage to be a sweet paradise. What a cloud of life.
That's it on Entertainment News. I am Aliyu Ahmed at Duque.
On the foreign scene, Oprah Winfrey has told the U.S. magazine InStyle that she does not have the DNA to be U.S. president. She had been widely touted as a future Democratic contender for the 2020 elections after a rousing speech at the Golden Globes earlier this month. But she told InStyle, and I quote, "I've always felt very secure and confident with myself in knowing what I could do and what I could not," end of quote. Oprah Winfrey is a household name in the U.S., having built up a huge following during her long-running talk show by tackling issues people could relate to. She has also produced and acted in movies, published her own magazine, and set up her own cable channel, all of which has helped her to become one of the world's richest people. She was picking up the prestigious Cecil B. DeMille Award for Outstanding Contribution to Entertainment at the Golden Globes early in January, when she made her now famous speech. She spoke powerfully on themes of race, gender, power, and the Me Too campaign against sexual harassment. U.S. President Donald Trump has questioned whether peace talks with Israel will even ever resume, blaming the Palestinians. Trump said Palestinians had disrespected the U.S. in the wake of his controversial decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. The Palestinians say the U.S. can no longer be considered a neutral broker. President Mahmoud Abbas has called Trump's declaration on Jerusalem in December the slap of the century. However, sitting alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the World Economic Forum, Trump said Israel has always supported the United States, so what he did with Jerusalem was his honor. The status of Jerusalem goes to the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Israel regards Jerusalem as its eternal and undivided capital, while the Palestinians claim East Jerusalem, occupied by Israel in the 1967 Middle East War, as the capital of a future state. Trump's recognition of the city as Israel's capital broke with decades of a U.S. policy of neutrality on the issue and put it out of step with the rest of the international community. To end the Bright Morning News, a recap of our major stories. President Muhammadu Buhari will today depart for Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to participate in the 30th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has urged politicians in the country not to take advantage of the ongoing continuous voter registration CVR2 campaign. In business news, the Abuja-Kaduna Standard Gauge Railway has commenced daily express service. The Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, unveiled this in Abuja. In sports news, football fans will pay between £10, about 5,120 naira, to £18, about 9,200 naira, to watch the Super Eagles of Nigeria take on Serbia in a pre-2018 FIFA World Cup friendly match on March 27 in London. And in entertainment news, Seun Kuti, son of late Afrobeat legend Fela Anikulapo Kuti, has condemned a statement credited to former President Olusegun Obasanjo over poor governance in Nigeria. On the foreign scene, Oprah Winfrey has told the U.S. magazine In Style that she does not have the DNA to be U.S. president. Thanks for watching. I am Dorcon Rimdan. Now moving on to the Bright Morning Show.
Welcome to National Discourse. Fuel scarcity has been a problem in Nigeria from time immemorial.
Current affairs.
We have to fix our refineries.
Politics. It's interactive.